Welcome to Gingerman. These are our cars. We just drove around the track. It was a great time. Come next time. Nobody showed up.
My name's Chris, and my problem is I like N54s.
It's like I'm at an AA meeting.
Did you at least pause McAfee?
No, I didn't pause McAfee. We'll probably get copyright, but... Oh, Pat, talk to me. Talk to me, Pat McAfee. What do I do with my life? Why is this my life?
Before I tell you not to talk about sports, I can promise you that.
No, I'm definitely not talking about sports, but what I am talking about...
Kind of motorsports.
is how... car was casually on fire. So we blew the turbo feed line, the stainless steel braided line, and apparently you could like, when we took it off at the track, you could like visibly see through the stainless steel in some parts. And while, yeah, that basically pissed oil all over the dump tube and the downpipe right here, and the car went up in flames. So I pulled off track pretty fast. I hit it with my fire extinguisher. Obviously the car's still standing. The fire kept going, but Gingerman guys, they were quick. They came over with the truck, put the blaze out. And yes, and then we were like, okay, well, we're at the track. We want to go racing, so let's fix it. So we pulled everything off. We replaced this. But as you can see, it did a bunch of damage to valve cover. The injector harness was basically toast, so we actually redid that whole harness at the track. Car started up after, idled fine, gave it a few starts and stops, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll do one lap at the track and see where we are at. The motor like wasn't really making boost. It kind of just felt weird, but I was like, yeah, it was just on fire. Maybe I lost a sensor or something stupid. So I come into pits, the motor just turns off, and she never turned back on again. And we were like, okay, well, maybe I fried the starter wire. So we came over here, we popped the starter off, tried to turn the motor by the crank, and nothing happened. Basically, the motor was seized. We were all pretty confused as to what happened because it's literally just a little 4 AN line. Like this line it's tiny. We didn't think it could actually piss out that much oil, and I was an idiot. And since these things don't have dipsticks, you kind of got to run the motor for a while, get it up to temp, and then check oil. Not even like I was probably actually going to do that, so that's a pretty lame excuse, but we did not check oil after that, and it must have lost way more oil because when we just did an oil drain, I think we got maybe 1.5 quarts. Kyle's going to grab the bucket. But the motor takes 9 quarts, and this is all that came out.
That's maybe 1 quart. And that was from the coolers, too. We drained the coolers, too, and that's...
Yeah, so not good. So we didn't see anything. We didn't get flagged. There was no trails on track or anything like that. I don't know if it was just slowly pissing for a while. But yeah, kind of a bonehead move on us not to triple check it. Even though it's not easy to do, but we probably should have actually tried to do it. And so the motor seized. Mike had a great weekend, got a bunch of laps in, as you saw in the highlights before this, but Chris did not. Actually, I did get like 2 full sessions, and I was cooking. I set like personal best after personal best. I was running 137s, which is pretty good for me at Gingerman. I was flying, the car was fucking balanced. The 8 HP was great. I was basically just turning laps, loving life. And then the fire happened, and yeah, we spiraled into this. So,
Then all hell break loose.
basically, so what's the plan?
I look like a dumpster. I've been laying in the ground, in the water, in the oil. It's bad at E85 down there. All right, so what are we doing? We're gonna go, basically you saw I ripped the motor out of this. We're gonna roll the shell back, let it chill for a second. Then we're gonna go grab the silver car, the drift build that never ended up happening, and I'm gonna steal that motor. I got my buddy Charles looking for another junkyard motor for the M54, but basically we ordered everything from the ground up. King bearings, oil pan gaskets, valve cover gaskets, we'll plug the head, we'll move over all the turbo stuff, leave the internals alone, don't care about any of that, and yeah, basically we'll slap it back in and go again, and then usually We find a junkyard motor for 350 bucks. I tip Charles like 500 bucks. The motor shows up for 800 bucks. And yeah, we'll save that one and put it in the silver car for one day if we actually ever decide to work on that. We should, but yeah, well, yeah, one of these years we'll actually get there. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of shit going on. Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, the voice of reason, only because he actually wants to drive the car.
Yes.
But so this literally, I have this motor out. I probably started at 11:30, maybe. Yeah, probably 11. Considering it's now 2. It takes me literally like 2 or 3 hours to pull the motor out.
Is this the first time we've done it like this? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so most of the time, and I think the last time we always just pulled the subframe, dropped the whole subframe out from the bottom, but this time I needed the car to be rolling just because the lifts are full. We're finishing Mason's car that's going to be done in like 2 days. Blue car, Corey's finishing the rear end, so that one's still going to lift, but I was like, I need the car to roll around for a little bit, so I was like, I'll pull the motor out of the top. Not bad. Having the trans on, you know, you gotta like finagle. It takes a good 5 minutes of jacking up, moving forward, jacking up, moving forward. But she's out, as you can see. So the fire didn't do like too much damage. I lost obviously wiring harnesses galore. Everything down in the trans tunnel is pretty charred.
All right, so what really happened was I did a 39, a 38, and then a 37. My 3 hot laps, was feeling great. Went to break into turn 1, and just the car just did not stop. I just like completely obliterated that corner basically. Touched the grass a little bit, but we kept it good. Got to turn 2, and then I saw smoke coming through the trans tunnel, and I was like, okay, I really did just cook that brake. You know, it's 3 hot laps. That's usually all the time attack car can do anyway. Turn 3 happens, and the smoke's really billowing out now, and then just flames come shooting up through the trans tunnel. Like I have the little block-off plate for the hole where the manual used to be. Yeah, basically flames just started coming through there. So I literally just, on the straight after 3, I just pinned it into the dirt, jumped out, hit it with the fire extinguisher, and then realized I don't even think I ever shut the car off, so I jumped back in the car to kill fuel, which you're probably not supposed to do, but I was like, you kind of just like in the moment, you don't really think, you're just like, I need to save the car. You're like, is my life worth it? And yes, I should not be jumping in the car. I should be like getting away and letting them put it out. But I was like, I gotta save the car. I can't let it burn. So yeah, I jumped in, killed fuel, killed the car, got back out, and then tried to hit it with the fire extinguisher again. It was out. I think I then Gronk spiked the fire extinguisher into the ground. I probably almost hit their truck because one of the ladies did make a comment about it. Yeah, so I Gronk spiked the shit out of the camera or out of the fire extinguisher. And then, yeah, then they got there, and then I kind of was just like in that shock where you just like, I just want to lay down. And that's worse for them because then they think, oh my God, you're like hurting or like on fire or something. And so, but yeah, no, I was fine. It probably looked really bad when I started laying down, but I was just kind of in like an emotional defeat. And yeah, basically after that, just towed it off and then got to work, and here we are now. So let's jump into just taking apart, stripping the engine bay, and then we'll get the silver car in here and pull that motor.
All right, so you can see this is a good part of the carnage. She was definitely on fire for a little bit. Definitely could have been worse, but all this stuff is trash. This was kind of like at the horseshoe collar right before the trans tunnel and then going down the trans tunnel. I don't even know why I had this on the car. This thing weighs like 20 pounds, so that's some decent weight reduction. Thanks, fire. But we do have the engine bay cleaned. I power washed everything, so obviously the fire was right on the downpipe, so it kind of went up and on this side of the trans tunnel, the worst. But that's a good delete. We'll get rid of all that. Just going back through all the wiring harnesses above. This is the windshield wiper motor. I do have to figure out where that goes. It kind of just goes into oblivion over here, so I need to replace that. Had this covered for the power wash, but I guess let's go take a look at the carnage on the motor. Manifold, it's billet steel. Took it like a champ. Put some oven cleaner on it, clean it up. It'll be good. Turbo, Garrett GTX 3582R. This does need to be sent for rebuild. Definitely ran without oil for a little bit. You can hear she's pretty crackly, pretty decent amount of wobble. It's not horrible, but it definitely should be replaced. I don't know how long it ran without oil, but probably at least a part of a session. So we're gonna send this to Boost Lab. One of the turbo fins, let's see if you can see it in there. We'll get it on the bottom. Yeah, it does look like it ate a little something at one point in its life. Damage isn't bad, but not good. So might need a new wheel, but I'm gonna let the experts tell me on that one. Probably lose some efficiency. All right, and yeah, motor-wise, this is what it looks like when it was on fire. So I think the coils are fine. I might have to just replace one or two of the back ones. I definitely need to call Vargas, see if I can get all new adapters, because those definitely took a beating. Wiring harness is all going to be replaced anyway. Valve cover and all that jazz is coming off the new motor, so not like I'm trying to keep any of this, but yeah. I think the shittiest part now is torque converter is bolted to the flywheel, which is then bolted to the crank, and because the motor doesn't spin, we really got to take the whole bottom half of the motor apart just to be able to get the torque converter off of the flywheel. So that's going to be a pain in the butt today, but I'm probably going to start working on that while Kyle finishes black car, and then we pull the silver car in and get going. Sean's telling me my shit's gross. I'm already depressed enough.
It hasn't moved in fucking forever, so there's gonna be no oil up here.
All right, guys. So we got the motor from the silver car, and surprise, not surprise, we were totally scammed. This motor does not have MMP 1K turbos. The motor definitely was not refreshed. We got fucking bamboozled. Our best case now.
Hey, we got a shell out of it though, guys. Just so you know.
If anyone wants an E90 shell,
Whoa.
feed my depression.
Maybe.
But so Kyle's gonna take the valve cover off, then we're gonna take the oil pan off, look at the bearings, see if anything inside is actually new like they told us.
Got it.
It's not looking so hot. Ignore the leaves, that's from us letting it sit, but we're about to find out.
This is what neglect looks like, people. Leaves, crud.
But
Those help keep the oil in the motor.
exactly. All crap. Look at these nice little OEM stamped BMW little turbo boys.
It might be new based on them not being totally corroded.
No, if you stick your finger on the inside of the turbine housing, it is fucking moist.
Sean, get ready.
It is not good.
Curious what the salt crystal growth is.
It is weird, isn't it, dude?
Where, on the intake ports?
No, exhaust.
If you look in the exhaust ports,
Like I'm guessing
Like on
this
this
motor
stuff?
is
No, right here.
full of
Right here.
water.
it's really strange.
I'm guessing the motor's got a lot of water in it.
God damn it. Guys,
It can't because we already drained the oil.
what is happening?
The pistons
all
could be
gonna
holding
drip
it
down.
up out of the oil.
I mean, maybe.
Mike's motor did.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, but the bores are gonna be so fucked you won't be able to do anything with it anyway.
Dingleberry.
Catch that,
whoa.
camera
I
people.
almost had it.
All right, we'll snap back when Kyle's got the valve cover off and the oil pan off. So not sure how well you can see here, but basically all of the cylinder walls are just rusty. They have some fat grooves in them. It's not looking good. Pistons. Yeah, that's what a new piston should look like, guys. No miles on this. Fresh motor. Get it while it's hot. So, yeah, obviously, this was a total failure. I'm now in need of 2 N54s, which sucks. I mean, this block is probably fine if I actually, wanted to send it out and get, cleaned up, probably tanked, and then you could probably dingleberry it. Pistons are shot. Rods are fine. I could probably reuse those, so I guess maybe if I disassembled my motor completely today, which I might, I don't know yet, I could probably take the pistons out of that, the rods out of this, rebuild this motor. Heads were fine on both motors, actually, which is pretty surprising. Bearings were not in bad shape, but also not in good shape, but I just, I don't get how you get an oil pan that looks like this. It's this crusty and just disgusting, and have the bearings be semi-acceptable. Nothing was spun or, chewed. It just, they were definitely not brand new, like the guys said that they were. So, yeah. Mitchell, he's coming in freaking clutch. He is selling me his motor. He's living that F82 life now, so he says, screw the N54 gang. I'm getting rid of it. I'm selling it to Chris. So I do have a motor, which, you know, kind of sucks. It's just, was thinking I was going to get away scotch-free here just by beg, borrowing, and stealing from the parts car, but no, I'll buy Mitchell's motor. We'll get that, I think, this weekend. Yeah, kind of just sad news all around, and looks like I get to spend probably the first few hours of my morning just cleaning up all this junk, figuring out what stuff I want to keep, what stuff is just trash. But yeah, I don't. Turbos are not stock, but also not MMP 1Ks, so I don't really even know how the frick I'll find out which one it is, but it looks like the turbine side is OEM, but the compressor side is not OEM, so they might be some weird hybrid that MMP offers. I've been out of the twin game for a while. We basically only deal with single turbos here, but yeah, just kind of a blah morning, but let's get this wrapped up, and then hopefully I'll come up with some excuse on how to end this video on a halfway decent note. So, all right, guys, out with the old and in with the old. All right, this is Mitchell's block, so this is how we're gonna end the video. This showed up, and yeah, the next video, which I'm gonna start now, but since I'm terrible at editing, you guys probably won't see for a few days between, we are going to disassemble this turd, all gaskets, bearings, the whole works, delete AC, who needs that? And yeah, we'll get this motor back up and ready to go, fully assembled, and we'll get it in the car, and we're back to ripping. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in, and please do all the YouTube stuff that I'm supposed to do, like and subscribe. I think actually a shit ton of you aren't subscribed, so unless we're totally terrible at YouTube, you should do that since it's basically free for you, and we appreciate it a lot. So until next time, guys, see you later.